Hey, so today I wanted to talk about long distance moves and how to explain how delivery dates work, because we've been finding that a lot of people have trouble understanding that they can't like really pinpoint their delivery date.
Sure.
So can you add to some details to that?
Yeah, sure. This is a great subject. One of the biggest things is that most people moving long distance, in our case it's Slattery moving, it would be from Maine to Florida. But let's assume that we're talking about loads going from New York to Florida and anywhere in between. So what that would mean is we have to pick you up, several clients, on one truck to bring you down to Florida, say. We'll say this is all Florida trucks. So on the 12th of any given month, I have to pick up Mrs. Jones. And on the 12th of that month, I actually load her onto the bigger truck, which would be the big tractor trailer going to Florida.
It's multiple sections of the truck.
Yeah, this is completely cordoned off, so nothing is mixed. So it's essentially taking that truck and bringing it to Florida, but just actually on a bigger truck. One of the reasons why we do that, and this is the moving standard in the industry, so you need to know this, is if we can't couple several moves together, there is no profitability for driving south. There's just none, especially today with gas, or fuel I should say, at $5 a gallon, and then you do the math. One of these fake tires here, they're $600 a piece. So if you do the math and what it is, there's just no way. So we have to coordinate multiple moves going south. Not a problem, we do it all the time. I've been doing it for 25 years. But so you understand what it is. So assuming I pick you up on the 12th, I put you on the 12th, on the truck on the same day. And let's say I pick up the gentleman on the 14th, and I put him over here, and then the 13th we'll put over here. We'll mix them up a little bit, doesn't matter. So now these guys are going south, right? They're going to go to Florida. And Mrs. Jones, that was picked up on the 12th, well, thinks that, within 3 days I'll get my items. So we already know that can't be the case, because I have two other loads putting on after. So at minimum, we're not leaving for 4 days. Right, so we leave for 4 days, we drive down for 2 days, so it's just 7 days before we pick up and deliver. That's a typical time frame, 5 to 7 days. So I want you to get this, guys. 5 to 7 days is a fast turnaround for a New York to Florida trip. Okay, the average turnaround within the industry right now, if you ask anybody and they're honest with you, is 7 to 21 days.
Is that what you usually tell people when you go out to quote these
My
jobs?
quote, it's on my quote, says 7 to 21 days.
Okay.
It's on my quote. If it's going to be sooner, I usually, when I come in, I'm like, look, I can do this in 3 days. You happen to be the last person on the truck I can put on. We're going straight down to your town to drop off. That could be 3 days, but it's rare. Okay? So your average is your 5 to 7 and for Slattery, and the average industry standard is 7 to 21. Having said that, your dates that we're going to pick you up, they're guaranteed. I'm going to be there. I'm always going to be there for you. That's not going to change. But because of the coordination and the consolidation that we have to do at Slattery and any other moving company into the bigger truck, and then the coordination for the delivery dates, so we can't do it in 3 to 5 days. That's basically what it is. And any mover, that's another piece too. If any mover says, hey, look, we're going to have your own truck for your 1 bedroom worth of stuff, and we're going to deliver you right to Florida, and we're going to deliver you within 3 days. Those are red flags all over the place. It's just not doable. It's not profitable. You can't do it. So let's make an assumption that Mr. Smith on the 13th is in South Carolina, and Mrs. Jones on the 12th is in Florida. We would not drive down to Florida and then drive back to South Carolina and then come back and deliver another Florida load. Okay, so we would not go back and forth. We have to do it in a consecutive way.
So we're talking about the delivery times.
Right, the delivery time. So for instance, we pick all these up, they're on the truck, we deliver Florida, and then we could do South Carolina on the way back, or we could possibly do South Carolina, Florida. Either one, not a big deal. But they have to go in sequence. And the reason being is if I was to drop you off in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and have to go back up to even just Jacksonville, Florida, and then say back down to Fort Lauderdale, Florida, that's a 600-mile turnaround. $5 a gallon, that's $700 in inefficiency, as if I was to drop you off in Fort Lauderdale, that kind of area. So what we're trying to do is put everything together as movers. So our job is to consolidate and make it as concise as we can.
That's how you stay competitive with the price.
There's no other way. There's no other way. The more competitive pricing amongst honest movers is because they're able to be more efficient. It's like UPS. UPS is the most efficient, and FedEx, most efficient companies for logistics in the world. And they're that way because they're profitable because they're efficient. They're making pennies on each item, but they're sending so many items to each place, they're becoming profitable. So in a much more scaled way, we need to similarly the same thing. We need to load you all up, get you loaded on the truck, get you delivered down, and deliver you in a time frame which is usually 7 to 21 days. And it will tell you at Slattery, and of course ask any other quoters that you're getting, or estimators should say, what that's going to be for them. But I'm going to tell you 9 out of 10 times we have 5, 6, 7 trips planned in advance, which will be probably 5 weeks out. So we'll be able to tell you within a couple of days, 3 days, 4 days of what your delivery should be. But in the event that that didn't fit, like this one was supposed to go on here, it didn't fit, it goes to the next trip, well then you're probably 3 days behind, but still in that window.
Right.
Okay? Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, the one thing that I wanted to ask too is, I mean, this is an industry standard process. I mean, no moving company would take each of these trips individually and
no, the individual piece is just an absolute zero, no way. It's not possible. So anybody tells you that you're going to go on your own truck, unless you have like a big house, unless you have like 5,000-6,000 square foot house and you do fill up the whole trailer, then you'll definitely go on your own. But you're still not going to get there anywhere between 5 and 7 days. That's your minimum. I mean, if I picked you up today, loaded everything up, got in the truck tomorrow, that's 2 days, and drove for 2.5 days legally, that's 4.5 days. I would be there at minimum 5 days. Right. So that's if you had your own big tractor trailer where there's nobody else to fit on the truck. So not relevant. So be careful of anybody saying they're going to deliver you right away at this like crazy low price. It's not going to happen. Any other questions?
No.
No? Okay.